To help reboot this channel again, we're going to go through Reddit questions about ADHD. We're going to be exploring some old school memes. We're going to be looking at certain ADHD related topics that people with ADHD typically deal with, and then I'm going to essentially react to them. And feel free to answer some of the posts and questions with your opinion and experience on them. If you had the opportunity to say something to a 16-year-old you, what would you say? We're all going to have a different answer to this question, which I think's the cool part about it. It's all based on your own personal experience. Firstly, what would you say to a 16-year-old you? I would be saying to a 16-year-old Lex, don't study crap at university and put yourself into a shitload of debt. Yes, I'm still currently paying off my university debt. I would also tell 16-year-old Lex, no one is going to come and save you. When you reach your 20s and 30s, you really realize quite quickly you're 100% accountable and responsible for yourself. And that's not to be confused with hyper-independence, but it has everything to do with self-accountability. Humans are always going to be reliant on other humans. It's how we've survived this long. But 100% of the people around us are not accountable for us. I'd also tell 16-year-old Lex to invest in her mental and physical health. The last thing I would tell 16-year-old Lex is to go out and socialize more and network. This is one of the major things in my late 20s and early 30s that I had really noticed. As in, I noticed the absence of it and what that actually means for going forward in life. Everything is difficult to do if you don't network properly. Anyone else feel they never recovered from the pandemic and work from home? Too Long Didn't Read that post is about going backwards socially and how this person thinks about themselves post-pandemic. I feel as though anything prior to 2020 was somewhat comfortable. I know it's going to be different for everyone, but there was a sense of comfort in knowing there was a projection forward into the future regarding family, career prospects, and friends. But everything post-pandemic got weird. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. I definitely think that there is an emotional and spiritual reliance on social media to do all of our communicating. And it seems as though, and this is my observation, that everyone has gone into their shell a bit. I don't know. What do you think? Husband doesn't have the depth I need. I would appreciate kindness and compassion and advice on how to make this work or stay healthy in my relationship rather than knee-jerk reactions to break up, because that's hard for me to consider right now. I'm married to someone who doesn't value that trademark highly sensitive person neurodivergent depth in the same way. I'm ADHD highly sensitive neurodivergent. He's a musician and extremely kind, and I thought I'd uncover more of the depth as we go. But I find that on certain things, we're not on the same wavelength. He's very thoughtful and attuned into many ways. He picks lovely things and outings as gifts. He does almost all of the housework and cooking, is very handy around the house, very kind and caring, interested in a variety of things including politics, travel and music. I could ask him for specific help to help me accomplish my goals and he would. If I want to lose weight, he'd offer to cook healthy meals. If I wanted to organize my closet in a particular way, he'll do all of the measurements and help me bring my vision to life. When I want to go on a trip, he takes care of the planning. He supports all of my mental health journeys with therapists. It's the mental emotional depth-ish connection that feels lacking. I don't feel our minds are deeply connected and he doesn't share much of his inner world with me. I knew that when we got together I'll need to get my need for intellectual stimulation mostly elsewhere, but we're able to talk to a reasonable degree about a variety of things. But lately many bids for banter and connection seem to be missed and I feel lonely. I need guidance on how to get that need met elsewhere and some suggestions on how to get my partner to engage more verbally. What can I do to feel the depth in a different way? I've tried researching elements of his personality, for example, or observing him closely, but these things sometimes leave me disappointed at what I feel I will never share. She is incredibly lucky to have a husband like this. When it comes to creating a life with someone, that person can't be 100% for us. And this is where sometimes relationships fall apart, where one person expects everything of their partner to be everything. And that partner winds up falling short because they can't meet this 100% capacity situation. And there's a risk that that person may look to that 20% elsewhere. That is, if you do expect your partner to fill that 100% threshold. I would say to this person that she is incredibly lucky to have a husband like this. And I would suggest that she should expand a social circle to include others who she can have intellectual conversations with. The feedback anxiety paralysis pipeline at work. Background is so many of us were. I was considered a gifted child. Even in my first working years, I always impressed my supervisors and pretty much skated by. Now I'm in the most challenging job of my career with a supervisor who has incredibly high standards. I've only been there 3 months and I'm learning a lot. I'm getting better, but it's still not perfect. Recently, I've gotten a fair amount of feedback, both on some projects where I missed doing some important things early on in the process and it caused some delays downstream. In the scheme of things, it's not that important. I work in marketing. I'm not cracking chests over here. And the mistakes are not large either, not costing money or making irreparable errors. So it seems like I should be able to take note of those learning moments in my head and move on. But now it feels like it's all just piling up and I'm having this issue where I'm just getting overwhelmed and bitter, because I also have a problem sometimes with starting to feel bitter and resentful when people ask a lot of me. Today I find myself so demotivated and completely frozen, and this whole week it's been super hard to make progress. The fact that I just called Monday and 2 hours of Tuesday the whole week should tell you something. Anyone have any advice on how to just roll off my back? I don't particularly like constructive criticism, even though constructive criticism is incredibly helpful. But I do have a tendency to take it as a bit of a personal attack, or rather a complete criticism as a whole on my talent or whatever work that I'm doing. I have a tendency that when there is a roadblock that I risk falling off the wagon completely. So when there is a form of criticism, I wind up thinking, well, I just must suck then. And that, of course, is very unhelpful mind talk and is not true, but that's just where my mind goes, to the extremes. I also find that when there are certain roadblocks, even if that comes from a place of criticism, that I find it more difficult to keep progressing forward or being on my A game with it. Instead, I respond much better to encouragement and praise that makes me want to do better. I'm sure that it's true for everyone across the board, but specifically with ADHD. Knowing that it comes with a bit of RSD, we are totally hard on ourselves. Positive feedback is a nice change for our brains to process. How did you get diagnosed? By a teacher? By parents? By friends? By a psychiatrist? The memes were too relatable. How many of you found out that you had ADHD this way? I suspected that something was wrong because every time I would go back to the doctor, they'd just simply keep telling me that it was anxiety, that classic thing, until I came across ADHD, and then it all made sense. However, to be the devil's advocate here, I definitely do think that there is a lot of over-diagnosing going on. I think this is especially true because our attention spans are so small these days, partially due to my last video. Go check that out. This also doesn't mean that everybody has to have a diagnosable issue where challenges may pop up every now and again. And my suggestion would be, if you do suspect a problem, always go and see a health professional. Me wants to study ADHD? No. After making so many mistakes in the past, I'm very, very strict on what I choose to pursue. And the only reason that is because I wasted so much money, so much time doing things that actually never mattered in the end, except for learning that I shouldn't be doing that. Do you have any study regrets or any regrets undertaking a new hobby that you sank so much money in? Let me know. It doesn't even matter where I go or how long for, but going anywhere new just gives me so much dopamine. I feel addicted to travel because of this. It's one of the only things that gets me through life. Day to day, I struggle hugely with energy and focus, but the minute I get on a plane, it all goes away. I probably go on holiday 5 to 6 times a year, even if it's just a day trip somewhere. Just wonder if anyone else experiences this as well. Tell me about it. Man, I am definitely one of those novelty-seeking ADHDers. When things start to feel monotonous, I always feel as though I have to change something, bring something new into the mix, just so that I can feel that excitement and inspiration. Traveling has become one of those activities where simultaneously it's a blessing and a curse. While our grandparents and the generations before may have not been lucky enough to travel and have some experiences simply because it wasn't a done thing, they at the same time were also blessed enough to know and appreciate a simple life. And that's one thing I'm actually envious that our grandparents got to experience. On the other hand, having cultural experiences adds such enrichment to our lives. You just learn so much from it, and you wind up living in the moment, which I feel is what many of we ADHDers do tend to struggle with. I just recently went to Thailand with my husband and had the time of my life. You'd never think I'm such an introvert or have any kind of anxiety, because oh my goodness, it was like I was on travel crack or something. I adapted so well to the environment and to the local culture. I had such a fabulous time. How accurate is this one? I feel completely attacked. Any noise that's seemingly going on in the background, TV, cicadas, the neighbors screaming, the fridge humming, maybe you can hear it right now because it's a bit too hard to EQ out, James hitting the high notes first thing in the morning. All of these sounds just come at me all at once, and I seem to just not be able to shut them out. However, when it is someone talking to me directly, I have a tendency to let my mind wander, and then I catch myself going, I shouldn't be doing this. Focus, please. This is rude. I just think it's hilarious that I catch myself doing it. Do you catch yourself doing it too? Well, that's about all that we have time for today, but I will be doing more of these in the future. For now, though, I hope you guys have a good day, night, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys all again for the next video. Bye.